Hello and welcome to the fifth video of 6 of Elevating Electronics. In this series we are talking about the Otis touch tube. And last video we talked about how you could wire something useful up, like a light or a relay, in a general sense of the way. And in today's video we will talk about crossfiring. Now some of you might be asking, what is crossfiring? Well, crossfiring is basically when you have basically the same hull or car panel that you want to basically be intertwined with another one. So let's say you have 4 elevators in a bank and they are strung about like this. Now you could have one hall call panel right in the center, but that would be kind of weird. Imagine if someone went up, especially someone in a wheelchair, pressed the button and the elevator on the complete other side opened up. Now he has to rush to get over there. What you could do instead is just have multiple hall call panels, for example, like this, and then any one of these buttons will basically accomplish the same task. Now, the reason why it's complicated in this is that it's not as simple as just parallel connecting the wires. I mean, that's basically what we are doing. We connect the up tubes in parallel and the down tubes in parallel, and in a car call situation we would connect the main call tubes together in parallel, and yeah, stuff like that. But it's not just as simple as doing that, because we need to add something else to it. We also need negative 17 volts DC. Why do we need negative 17 volts DC? Who knows? Actually, I do know. But now we have 120 for our trigger voltage. We have 135 DC for our anode applied voltage, and negative 17 volts for crossfiring. That's 3 different voltages for just like. Now, this is another reason that they don't use these things. You only need 24 volts AC or 12 volts AC in the newer panels, not 3 different voltage types and levels. Anyway, I'm getting off track here. In order to actually wire this thing, we are going to need a lot of connections. And I can't really go into big depth about how I'm going to explain it when I'm all wired. I'm just going to have to show you schematic and you'll have to go from there. Looking at this thing, it's pretty complicated. Looking at the schematic of this thing, it's still pretty complicated. So, I have gotten it all wired up, and I have tested beforehand that it does actually work. So, basically, what we are doing here, and also you'll notice, I have a new toy here. This is basically a DC power supply. It can go from 0 to, I believe, around 28 volts. So we won't be using 28 volts. We only need negative 17. So I connected the positive to the negative of our capacitor, and the negative goes towards our grid, which is where we applied the negative 17 volts to the grid. The grid is actually very important for causing the actual crossfiring to work, which is why I mentioned in one of the early videos that if you have a tube that does not have the actual grid available for you to connect to, then you won't be able to do this. Anyway, I have the negative 17 here, the AC coming and going into the DC. I have the 120 volts AC trigger voltage. So all we need to do is power this thing up, and when we touch one of the tubes, the other one should light up automatically. So we'll just turn it on and I'll show you how that works. Alright, so we'll just plug it in here. Nothing's exploding right off the bat, so that's good. We'll turn on our DC. Nothing's exploding again. And just quickly mentioning here, if we touch one of the tubes, yes, if we wired it directly in parallel, crossfiring sometimes works. But as you can see here, it doesn't really work that well. I mean, that one was pretty late, and that one doesn't even work at all. So, all we need to do is turn on our DC. So now we are at 17 volts negative. So now when we touch one of the tubes, the other one lights up. This tube is just having a bit of trouble. I believe it's something to do with the bass. But as you can see, it lights up just fine. We can touch one or the other, and the other one will automatically light up. We can touch both here at the same time, and the other one will light up fine. So, that's cross-firing right there. Now, you can do it with more than 2 basses. You can have pretty much as many as you want. It's just that once you have so many, the voltage gets spread out so much that, as you can see here, when I touch one, it's like, see, when I touch one, it gets dimmer when the other one lights up. So if you have too many of these in parallel, then eventually they'll just become so dim that they won't even work anymore. But with just 2 or 3, you'll be fine. So, and I must mention right now that I'm very happy this has gone without problem, because the last time I tried to do cross-firing like this, it didn't really go out so well. And you see, sometimes these tubes don't work best either. So yeah, that happened. So, as you can see, works fine. That tube's still having a great time. And that's cross-firing. So, that concludes this 5th video, and in the 6th and very final special video, we will discuss some nuances and some extra little tidbits about these touch buttons and their faceplates and other stuff like that.